Top 10 Mysterious Skeletons Found in Castles. You will never guess what the number 1 skeleton is. Like and subscribe for weekly videos. In the comments below, list one topic you think should be in a top 10 video and comment if you subscribe to this channel. Every year, millions of tourists flock to castles in Europe and the United Kingdom to get a glimpse of the history, romance, and decadence of a bygone era. Recent archaeological excavations have revealed that many of these castles have their own mysteries as well. Here are 10 excavations that uncovered the remains of a castle's past resident. Their identities are still a mystery. Every year, millions of tourists flock to castles in Europe and the United Kingdom to get a glimpse of the history, romance, and decadence of a bygone era. Recent archaeological excavations have revealed that many of these castles have their own mysteries as well. Here are 10 excavations that uncovered the remains of a castle's past resident. Their identities are still a mystery. Tenlein Castle, Germany. In the summer of 2016, construction workers discovered a skeleton hidden in Lein Castle. There was no record of a burial, so archaeologists were called to the scene. Experts from Lund University agree that the skeleton is a few centuries old, but its identity is still a mystery. A missing persons case from over 300 years ago could be the missing piece of the puzzle. Count Philip Christoph Königsmark disappeared from the castle 322 years ago. According to love letters that were found, the Count was having an affair with Princess Sophia Dorothea. Unfortunately for the lovers, the princess was already married to Prince Georg Ludwig. According to the letters, the couple planned to elope during the summer of 1694. Before they could run away together, however, the Count vanished without a trace. Scientists hope to solve the mystery by comparing DNA from the skeleton to the Count's living relatives. 9. Hillsborough Castle, Northern Ireland. Hillsborough Castle has had a significant part in Irish history. The stronghold was inherited the 18th century by the Hill family, who were engaged with legislative issues. At their stature, they possessed more land than some other family in Ireland. After the Irish Free State Act in 1922, the chateau turned into the official home of the legislative leader of Northern Ireland. From that point forward, the palace has seen numerous remodels and significant visitors, including Queen Elizabeth and Princess Margaret. When plans were made for a development venture at Hillsborough Castle, archaeologists got consent from the administration to unearth the property before development started. They were searching for the remaining parts of a 15th or 16th century church, so they were shocked when they found a 1,000-year-old skeleton. Without any records returning to that time and no grave markers, it is highly unlikely of knowing who the lady was. 8. Aberystwyth Castle, Wales. While excavating Aberystwyth Castle on the coast of Wales, archaeologists found human remains buried in a suspicious way. It was not a traditional burial, since the skeleton was found under the floor of the castle. The cause of death is still a mystery, but it appears that the skeleton belonged to a young man who died around the time of the English Civil War. During the 17th century, battles between royalists and parliamentarians resulted in death and destruction all over England, Wales, Ireland, and Scotland. Aberystwyth was a battleground from 1645 to 1646, and the castle fell under siege. Archaeologists believe the young man died in the castle and was buried there because of the siege. 7. Halton Castle, England. Halton Castle of Cheshire, England, is one of not many Norman palaces left in the nation. It was inherent the 11th century as a guarded post, exploiting a ridge area. The palace was involved until the English Civil War, when it was blockaded twice. In the 17th century, a town hall was inherent the remnants of the manor, which actually stands today. In the mid-year of 2015, volunteer trackers were stunned to discover 2 skeletons at Halton Castle. The manor's set of experiences is very much recorded, yet there was no notice of any interments on the grounds. The skeletons are accepted to be the remaining parts of a man and lady who lived 400 years back. While archaeologists have verified that the man's legs were broken while he was alive, the personalities of the skeletons stays a riddle. 6. Stirling Castle, Scotland. During the late 13th and early 14th centuries, the Scottish Wars of Independence raged between the Kingdom of Scotland and the Kingdom of England. Famous uprisers like William Wallace and Robert the Bruce emerged during this time and became legendary. The battles and raids were brutal on both fronts, leading to death and destruction in Scotland and northern England. There were several sieges on Stirling Castle, a stronghold of strategic importance to both English and Scottish forces. A single unidentified skeleton is shocking enough, but when archaeologists found the remains of 9 people in Stirling Castle, they had their work cut out for them. While excavating the oldest part of the castle in 1997, the research team found the remains of 7 men, 1 woman, and 1 infant. The remains have been radiocarbon dated to the 13th through 16th centuries, which suggests that these people may have died during the sieges. One man's skeleton has more than 100 fractures, while the woman's skull was crushed, possibly with a mace or similar weapon. Researchers have not been able to establish any identities, but it is believed that the people were of a high social status since they were buried inside the castle. 5. Nottingham Castle, England. In 1978, excavations at England's famous Nottingham Castle uncovered a partial skeleton. Because only part of the skeleton was found, researchers couldn't determine the sex or precise age of the individual. Sadly, it was confirmed that the skeleton did not belong to Robin Hood. Researchers believe the bones are the remains of an army captain killed in the castle during the English Civil War. According to a book written by Lucy Hutchinson, whose husband was governor of Nottingham during the war, several royalists were taken prisoner and beaten. These prisoners of war fought back, ultimately killing a young parliamentarian captain. The location of the skeleton and limited pathological evidence are consistent with Lucy Hutchinson's memoirs. Further excavations over the winter of 2016 recovered the rest of the skeleton, which is being analyzed by archaeologists and radiocarbon dating experts at Oxford University. 4. Kalmar Castle, Sweden. Not all individuals covered in manners kicked the bucket in brutal conflicts. It is accepted that the 12 skeletons found at Kalmar Castle in Sweden were presumably survivors of disease or plague. During fixes of the manor dividers in March 2015, archaeologists were permitted to look through the region. It was during this investigation that these skeletons were found. Preliminary examination proposes that 3 of the skeletons had a place with kids and that the leftover 9 were grown-up guys. As indicated by tests, these individuals satisfied 500 years back, which is steady with records of a plague in Kalmar. In 1620, Kalmar Castle should have the imperial wedding of Gustav to Adolf to Maria Eleonora. Lamentably, the plague moved through the town, so the wedding was moved to Stockholm. 3. Sverresborg Castle, Norway. There are many outlandish stories included in the Viking sagas, and archaeologists have managed to verify at least one of them. One saga told of how a castle was seized by the Baglers, who were members of the Norwegian aristocracy during the 12th century. According to the saga, the intruders ruined their captives' water supply by throwing a dead Viking warrior into the castle well. In 2014, archaeologists located the well described in the saga and retrieved a partial skeleton from the bottom. Radiocarbon dating puts time of death at the end of the 12th century. The siege took place in 1197. More excavations are planned to recover the remaining skeleton and to search for more information. 2. Newark Castle, England. Newark Castle was an imposing fortress in its day, perched on the bank of River Trent. It was built in the 1130s by Bishop Alexander, and much of the structure was destroyed during the English Civil War. The western wall still stands 3 stories high, but the internal structure has long been demolished. The site was settled long before the castle was built, however. Bronze Age, Iron Age, and Roman artifacts have been recovered from the site. During the 1990s, archaeologist John Samuels headed an extensive project that unearthed a Saxon cemetery on the castle grounds. With the help of volunteers, the research team was able to locate 53 graves. Radiocarbon dating confirmed the burials to be late Saxon, and researchers believe them to be Christian due to an absence of burial goods. 1 Lincoln Castle, England. In 2013, archaeologists working at Lincoln Castle made an exciting discovery. While excavating the castle's foundation, they found the remains of an ancient Saxon church. In the remains of this ancient church, they made an even more exciting find, a limestone sarcophagus that was buried at least 1,000 years ago. An intact sarcophagus from this time period is rare, since they're usually destroyed or at least damaged by layers of construction over time. A sarcophagus indicates high social status, and this was confirmed by pieces of leather shoes that were still on the skeleton's feet. 9 more burials were recovered from the ancient church. These burials were from the same time period as the sarcophagus but were more simple, indicating that these people were not of noble status like man in the sarcophagus.